right, Joe is here. Hey, I heard some stuff today about people were saying. I think a lot of people got a misconception of what God is. Okay, God is everything, and when I tell people that if God was going to be anything, if you want to really just label Him as something, then in reality He would. All right, yeah, yes, sir. Then in reality He would be a female, but because first you got to understand that God is male and female. Before they were separated in male, female, they were together, right? And they were brought forth by God. We take the concept of masculine, feminine, male, female because that's what we have experienced in this world. Uh-huh. All right. But that's uh, for us. God is all that. And then you say, okay, because remember, women reflect the love of God, right? More than the men do. Because they have a connection with the baby, they carry it 9 months and blah, 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 right? Having to raise it up. I think I talked about that before, how difficult that was. But people tend to forget that he also said that he created evil. So people say, well, no, God is all good. He's good. No, look, God created evil just like he created good. But I think where people is I think what people is not understanding is that you can't have good without evil. You can't have good without bad. Otherwise, what are you going to weigh good against? Right? And I think people get the wrong concept of what good is. And they make things bad that are really not bad. See what I'm saying? They make themselves because all right, they make it good or bad. That's why you have to let God be the one to give you the laws to say what is good and bad. But you can't have good if you don't have anything to weigh it against, right? So you gotta have something to weigh it against. Otherwise, if you're all good all the time, then if you're good all the time, well then how does free will of choice, because he gave us free will of choice. So if you're all good and have nothing to weigh it against, how is that free will? So free will says that you have a choice to make. And this is on and on, not just now. Even in the new world, you're gonna have to make choices. The only difference in the new world is you will immediately be destroyed if you rebel against God. Because everything has been answered now. That's what all this is about. That's why Satan is accusing him. The God's allowing him to prove his side of prove his side of the ticket. You see? That's why it's taking so long. Okay? Because God is fair. He's a just God. He gave free will of choice not as a punishment, but as a gift to man. So when you got one making a claim, he's fair and he's going to allow you the chance to do that because he already knows he's the only rightful ruler. He's the only one that can lead and rule with man in this earth that we are in. Same thing happened with Samuel. them. They wanted a king like the other nations, see, instead of God, because God was their king. Okay, so the only way you can have free will of choice is you have to have something to weigh against the good and the bad. See what I'm saying? You have to have something to weigh against it, you know. And a lot of things before the laws came down from God handing down the laws to the nation of Israel, there was no laws that stated what one thing was this or one thing was that until the laws. The thing that caused Adam them to lose everlasting life was because they disobeyed God's command, which was not to touch the tree that was in the middle of the garden. Why? Because I gave you every other tree in the whole Garden of Eden. And that really should have been one of those things like, hey, just like if somebody come tell you, hey man, you can go over to HEB or your local grocery store and you can eat out of that store anything you want. Right? Big old store. Except milk. A jug, you can't get no milk. I mean, you can't get the jug of milk, but you can have everything else. And that's just to show a sign of respect. Correct? Okay. So the thing, to show a sign of respect for him being the creator and giving you the opportunity to enjoy from his creation. So if you really think about it, this shouldn't have been a hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? That's just like I said about the grocery store. I mean, I go in that grocery store and I'd be like, hey man, we can get everything in the store. You know, so why would I touch the milk? And if my woman touched the milk, I'm like, man, girl, man, you lost your mind. Hey, you know, have you lost your mind? Why would you touch the milk? And we got all the food in the whole thing. And it was just, and really, that was just to show the respect to God. And it was really something that should have been able to do. You see what I'm saying? And so I know, like I told you, man, you're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to get a lot of this teachings that we've been taught, and you're gonna have to be like a baby. But we don't have to go through the whole book because I don't think we have time for that because the time is moving real fast. I really think things are gonna get the jumping off pretty quick here. But all you have to is know who God is, know who Christ is, that they're not the same person, they're not part of no dang Trinity, but Jesus is God because he came from God. He's the Word of God, see? But he's a separate being from God, if that makes sense to you. He's the Word of God. That's why he says, my word goes out and does not come back void. He's not talking about speaking out to the world. The Word is Christ. Christ goes out and fulfills his word all over the universe. That's why they shudder when they come upon the demons, because his authority is almost, we could say, equal. But he says he never tried to take the title as equal. See? And that's why he became the begotten Son, because he was brought forth by God. Everything else was brought forth through him. Okay? But we gotta retrain the way we think. God is all that, man. See? He is almighty. All right?